Here on Wednesday morning, long ball number one. Tuesday was packed full of exciting Champions League games. Amongst the highlights, I want to kick this off because I had an absolute blast catching up on this at the end of the day yesterday.
Uh-huh.
Real Madrid 3, Atalanta
Yes.
2. Real Madrid
Yes.
did Real Madrid things yesterday, and Atalanta, always good for the entertainment value. Some absolutely awesome goals, great calls from the illustrious Ray Hudson as well.
That is one of those games that definitely delivered on its promise. We know
Oh, yeah.
Atalanta can play some soccer. Gasparini is a very good coach, and I think that Real Madrid is going to feel a little lucky. I think there were some moments Atalanta could have done better. Ademola Lookman is a hell of a player and scored a goal and could have set up another if Retegui gets on the end. Come on, Retegui, what are you doing, man? I don't. You got to do one of these things when it's Italian. Like, what are you doing, Retegui? Great game, very entertaining. Big win for Real Madrid. All three of their big guns, their big stars, score on the day. Of course, the other part of that, though, the bad part, Robert, is that Kylian Mbappe left the game in the 36th minute with what I think is being reported as a thigh injury, and I don't know that we have a prognosis quite yet. Will he be missing for a long period of time? That's the big question for Real Madrid as they are closing in on Barcelona. Barcelona's hit a bit of a blip in the league, and I believe Real Madrid, with a game in hand, is only 2 points back. So lots of things happening right now for Carlo Ancelotti and company.
Some of those goals just absolutely blew me away. I mean, the turn for Mbappe's first goal was just, I think I gasped when I saw that. I was just like, oh my goodness. I think Ray Hudson's take was that was cleaner, or no, sharper than a witch's tooth, which always, which definitely made me chuckle. But just, I was, my mouth was agape seeing that goal. And then Vinicius Jr.'s goal, he scored the second for Madrid. And that was one of the luckiest deflections you could ask for. Came off the Atalanta defender, literally into the path to him to just swing away and score. And then Bellingham, the slow motion of Bellingham, he scored the third and ultimately the winner. The slow-mo replay of Bellingham's goal against Atalanta yesterday, I almost wanted the NFL Films music behind it. Like, he did, cut to the right, or he went left, right, left, shot, and it was a thing of beauty. Seeing a big man like that move so smoothly was awesome. If we were doing highlights as R&B singers, that one would have been Sade, because that was a smooth operation.
Oh, that's a lovely pull, Sade and smooth operator. Yeah, the fact that Bellingham's first goal in the Champions League this season, by the way, just hasn't been nearly as good for him as it was last year when he started his career in Madrid. But we know he's got the talent, we know he's got the ability, and that was a well taken goal for him. So yeah, Real Madrid, and we are now past the halfway point. That was game 6 of 8 in the league phase of the Champions League, and Real Madrid is one of those teams that isn't where you thought they would be. They are in 18th position as of right now, with games still to come today, of course, that could see them bumped lower in the table if, say, a Manchester City wins against Juve. If Juve beats City, they'll jump over Real Madrid as well. I think there's even a chance that Feyenoord could pull above Madrid if they win against Sparta Prague today, which I would expect them to do. So, yeah, Real Madrid could be pushed down nearly to the bottom of that top 24 after 6 matches. They needed that victory.
I don't want to overlook your comment about Ademola Lookman. I mean, I went, whoa. Like, I had a lot of visceral reactions to these highlights. If Purdue back in the day was called the cradle of quarterbacks, right? What would you call Atalanta for strikers?
Strikers.
Because you go there, you turn into an absolute goal scoring machine. Lookman is just the latest in a line of some goal scorers at that club that's just having an extended period in the sun for a team that's not classically a power in Italy.
Yeah, it's been a great run. They do have this ability, and Gasparini, again, as a manager, to find these guys. Retegui is another example of that. A guy who was at Genoa before he joined Atalanta, where he scored a handful of goals, but 12 goals, something like that. I have to check his accurate numbers right now. I think he's got 12 in the league, 2 in the Champions League already this season. 12 in 15 games in Serie A for Matteo Retegui. De Ketelaere as well has become something of a goal-scoring star for that team. His history, you go back and you look at it, he had been at AC Milan and just hadn't done anything. Joined Atalanta on loan last year, scored double-digit goals, and has already added several goals this season. I think he scored in he scored in this game as well, right? Scored the penalty spot maybe in this game. So, yeah, Atalanta has this ability to find these players and build them up.
Other results on Tuesday, Liverpool stayed perfect in Champions League, winning again 1-0 over Girona. But in more exciting games, 3-2 Villa over Leipzig. Some outstanding goals, and John Duran does it again. That was the most powerful looped shot I can recall in quite some time.
That John Duran has that ability. He has got this knack for taking these shots. You're like, is he really going to let that go from 30? And then somehow, it's not corner. It's not top corner. That's not outside the reach of the goalkeeper from a lateral perspective. It's only that the goalkeeper is 3 or 4 yards off his line.
Which isn't that far. Which isn't very far.
No, it's not. Top spin from John Duran puts that ball, and he had another goal ruled out for offside. That was correctly ruled out for offside. He could have been a double for him. It could have been a Duran situation. But it was not in the end. But Villa wins the game. There was a deflection on the goal from Barkley, which benefited Villa. You know, I think they could, if they had gotten out of there with a draw, they would have said that's a pretty good result. The win is massive for them, of course.
Do you blame Galacci at all for that goal for Duran? I mean, the commentators were like, "Eh."
I mean, it's tough. Again, do you expect the player to hit that shot? Do you expect it to have that kind of top spin when he
wasn't like at the penalty spot or anything. I mean,
No.
There wasn't like a whole lot of room behind him, but
No, there wasn't a lot, but it did feel like that effort was lacking somehow. But again, he got caught in between, just didn't have any leverage to leap to get a hand on that and tip it over. So John Duran gets credit for that. Good goal from him. I don't know what number for his Champions League career that was, Robert, but we should celebrate the 50th goal for a couple. Mbappe scored his 50th goal before coming off against Atalanta. Who else scored a 50th goal?
Mo Salah got his 50th from
Salah.
the spot versus Girona.
Yeah, the lone goal in that win. I do have the top goal scorers in the Champions League in history here that we can take a look at. Ronaldo, of course, leading the way, or, you know, he's not in the Champions League anymore. He's not going to add to that total, but 141 is a absolute dumb number. Lewandowski's over 100. Benzema, Raul had that record for a long time before that quartet above him took over. Van Nistelrooy, Shevchenko. Man, do people remember how many goals Andrei Shevchenko scored in the Champions League? I don't think people really do.
I think with the Anglo-centric, people more focus on him being like kind of a Chelsea bust more than like how prolific he really was.
Yeah, but he played in Italy. He played in a bunch of places, Shevchenko. Muller, Henry. Henry's got 51. That they were talking about Henry on the Paramount Plus broadcast being above 50 because Mbappe and Salah have joined him. Then Inzaghi, Ibrahimovic, Di Stefano. You got to way back for Di Stefano. So this is the list. I don't think. I mean, Mo Salah is going to add to this number. I don't know that we're going to see him reach 70 in his career. That seems like maybe a bit of a stretch. Mbappe, though, at his age,
he can.
Do you think there's any chance? He's got to stay healthy. The Madrid thing really has to start clicking a little bit better. But is there a chance he can double that number, reach that 100 mark, join the elite club that is Ronaldo, Messi, and Lewandowski? Lewandowski's, by the way, still adding to his total as well.
Yeah, Lewandowski is definitely not going away quickly. But to your point about Mbappe, I do think that he could probably double up, provided he remains as healthy as he has so far. I don't see why he wouldn't. And you don't think, I mean, if he stays on Madrid for more than a few years, there's more than ample opportunity to score goals there, no doubt. They are definitely one of the highest scoring teams. Other notable results, PSG get a 3-0 over Salzburg. And the last one I thought was exciting was Bayern 5-1 over Shakhtar. Some pretty goals in this. Yeah. You kind of feel bad for Shakhtar because they're obviously in a precarious position, being, in the middle of a war, having to kind of dance around the war and losing a lot of talented players. I
They
always
played that
have,
game. They played that game in Germany. They played that game, and it wasn't in Bavaria. It wasn't, it wasn't that close to Bayern's home base. I think it was in Schalke Stadium, but they played that game in Germany because the Ukrainian teams don't get to play at home, puts them in a very difficult position. I do like the fact that their goal to open the game, which gave them some momentary hope before Bayern just decided to stomp them, but I do love the fact that it was scored by a Brazilian guy named Kevin.
yeah,
Kevin, scored Kevin.
yeah,
Kevin scored.
yeah. And but I understand why they call him Kevin because at one point they did read out his whole name, and it was about half a dozen names after Kevin followed. But I gotta say,
That's how they
Elise.
do it.
Before we move on,
Oh, yeah.
Elise, his fifth goal, the goal that rounded it out, was just, if you haven't seen it, he dribbles by four guys and does kind of a stutter step in front of the goalie that just like pretty much paralyzes the Shakhtar goalie. That was just smooth. And I thought it was interesting, like what a glow up. Has any player leveled up as much going from Crystal Palace, like, you know, hopeful talent or obviously it's good talent to go into the leading man at one of Europe's biggest teams. And I saw he's the penalty kick taker there. So obviously internally, he's got a lot of respect. You'd think that someone, maybe, I'm not sure if Mueller was off the field at this point, but I was surprised to see Elise as the delegated penalty kick taker.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Harry Kane out injured, so
That too,
opens
obviously.
up that spot. I mean, that's why he's taking them
Good
because
point.
Harry Kane is not there right now. No, the glow up for Elise. I mean, it happens occasionally, right, that a player goes from a kind of second tier afterthought kind of club, even in a top league, to one of the biggest clubs in the world, and suddenly like, oh yeah, he was always really good. He was just playing for Crystal Palace. Like he was just playing for Crystal Palace. Now he's with one of the best teams in the world talent wise, and surrounded by those players, the guys that Bayern Munich can bring in. He's going to be better. He's going to look better. He's going to be more productive.
And that Crystal Palace side, that the last couple months of the season last year when Mateta, Elise, and Eze were all healthy, I mean, that's an all-time like temporary team right there. And for anyone that didn't, expect him to take that big step up, you see him when he was surrounded with good players.
It's like Crystal Palace knows what it feels like to be Southampton. That's kind of what's going on here.
Like, oh, we did great, but they all left now.
They
And I got to
all
say
left.
that I am starting to actually, outside Liverpool, I think I'm actually slowly over time becoming a little bit of a Crystal Palace fan as like a second team.
Interesting. You like
Yeah.
Oliver Glasner? You like the
It's not even
German
the American
thing?
connection. They've always like played hard. They've gotten big results off
Wow.
of teams.
The American connect. You mean with Chris Richards, or you mean with John Textor as owner?
Yeah, there's some. So I guess is Glasner the incoming owner? To
No,
explain that.
Glasner's their manager. Isn't Oliver Glasner their manager?
Is he American?
No, he's German. I was Austrian. Sorry, he's Austrian. Let me get that right. Their manager is Oliver Glasner. He's Austrian. I thought you were saying you liked Oliver Glasner, and I think you took that to mean I was talking about their owner, who is John Textor, who also owns Lyon in France, which has the 500 million euro debt that's going to get them relegated if they don't fix it. He also owns Botafogo, who just won Copa Libertadores. He also has a history, while he has been owner of Botafogo, of being on the field and yelling at referees. So, it's I don't know if you like that kind of thing, but there you go. I will say that Crystal Palace, also the only club I know of, because I don't really engage with this on a regular basis, the only club that I know of that had American-style cheerleader/dance team girls.
They've had that for a little while. Yeah, pom poms, the whole outfit. They've got it.
That's so wild to me.
So they have
so funny.
cheerleaders and a mascot. So
They
they're-
do. Everybody's got a mascot now. I mean, that's a thing.
I remember there was a little while where the mascot was pretty cheeky, and he was like celebrating in front of, maybe that was Harry the Hornet from
That might have been
Watford.
Harry the Hornet. Yeah.
Always like a good when the mascot world seeps into the actual sporting side. That's always good fun. But great day of Champions League action on Tuesday and a whole slate of games going on this afternoon.